Someone is on their way to your house right now. I'm not talking in metaphors. I'm talking about reality. A real person, carrying something tangible in their hands, is being moved toward your life at this very second. And what they're bringing is going to rewrite the chapters you already thought were finished. You didn't call this person. You didn't set the appointment. But you were chosen to receive what they're carrying. And there is a very specific reason this is happening right now after everything you've been through. Stay with me until the end. Before we finish, I'm going to give you a 3-step protocol to prepare your home for this arrival, because some people have the blessing knock, but they aren't ready to open the door. You know exactly what that Sunday night feeling is like. When the house is finally quiet, the kids are asleep, and you're just sitting there staring into space. You've got that weight in your chest that you can't quite name. It's not exactly sadness. It's somewhere between exhaustion and a deep ache for a life that hasn't shown up yet. You've already done the math on how long you've been waiting. You've added up the years, the months, and the prayers you whispered at 3 a.m. while the rest of the world was dreaming. And sometimes, not always, but sometimes, a voice inside whispers that maybe it's just never going to happen. That's not a lack of faith. It's just the wear and tear of someone who's waited too long without a sign. There are days when you smile for the photos, tell people, "I'm doing great," when they ask, and you just keep grinding. But when you're alone with your thoughts, you know there's an empty space that no small win has managed to fill. It's the feeling that something massive was supposed to arrive, and it missed the exit. And the heaviest part isn't the waiting itself. It's that you can't even explain to anyone what it is you're waiting for. You don't even fully know yourself. You just know there's something missing. And that is exactly why this message found you today. You're still standing after all of that. And that, by itself, says everything about who you are. Hitting the like button is your public amen. Heaven records what you confess openly. Hit that like right now. I heard every prayer you thought went into the void. They didn't. They were being forged into something you weren't ready to carry yet. Now you are. Now I move. Here is what you're going to receive today. First, the spiritual truth about what you've been feeling. Because that void you're trying to name isn't a sign of abandonment. It's the space that was cleared out to make room for what's coming. A delayed blessing isn't a denied blessing. It's a blessing kept under lock and key until the right person was ready for the right person to deliver it. Second, a 3-step protocol you can execute before the day is over to prep your life for this arrival. Because there are spiritual conditions for receiving what comes through another person. And while they're simple, they're non-negotiable. Third, a declaration that will ring in your heart when you wake up tomorrow morning, changing the way you see every interaction, every text message, and every ring of the doorbell over the next few days. Don't check out now. This is where the real message begins. Close your eyes for a second if you can. Look away from the screen for just a moment. What I'm about to tell you won't reach someone with a divided mind. There are signs already popping up in your life, and you've been calling them by the wrong names. Pay attention. Over the last few months, people have been dropping out of your circle. The invitations stopped coming. Conversations that used to be easy suddenly felt like pulling teeth. You interpreted that as being forgotten. It wasn't that. I wasn't pushing you away from people. I was creating silence so you could hear the footsteps of the right person. The ones who left were carrying the noise that would have drowned out the visitor I'm sending. The isolation you felt as rejection was actually preparation. Silence has a purpose. It never happens by accident. At 2 ALKs or 3 MAR in the morning, you've been waking up for no apparent reason. It's not standard insomnia. It's not clinical anxiety. It's an activation. I'm waking you up before the sun because what's on the way arrives in the window that precedes the visit. You were being awakened to watch over what was in transit. That midnight restlessness that no one understands, that you can't even explain to yourself. It has a destination. It's your spirit responding to the movement that's already happening in the atmosphere. You can't explain it to anyone, but lately there's been an expectation in the air, a mix of hope and butterflies, a sense of something is about to happen that has no shape yet. Have you felt that before? That feeling isn't a delusion. It's your spiritual intuition firing on all cylinders. Your spirit is picking up the movement your mind can't see yet. Call it by its right name: prophetic anticipation. A recent conversation, at the grocery store, in a DM, or a phone call you weren't expecting, has been echoing in your head. You don't know why. It might be that this person is already the one. Or maybe they planted a seed about where to look, or opened a door you haven't recognized as a door yet. Don't dismiss the echo. That echo has an address. An opportunity that felt like a sure thing got blocked. An answer that should have been yes came back as not now. You wasted time trying to figure out the no, but the no was a reroute. I wasn't closing what was yours. I was keeping you from arriving at the wrong place while the right place was being finished. The door that slammed without explanation wasn't cruelty. It was protection on a deadline. And there's something you haven't told a soul. A flash of an image before you fall asleep. A dream that felt too vivid to be just a dream. An impression when you woke up that you brushed off as being too much. It's not. I speak before things happen, so that when they do, you'll know I was there all along. What you saw and kept quiet, I planted that. Because I want you to recognize the visitor the moment they arrive. If 3 of these signs hit home while you were listening, this message didn't find you by chance. This is the moment. This is your confirmation. Type "free" in the comments. If this word reached your soul, close your eyes again. Take a deep breath. This won't work if your attention is split. Let the outside world fade into the background. What matters right now is what's inside this message. Ruth was a widow, a foreigner, landless, and a nobody in the city of Bethlehem. All she had was a mother-in-law named Naomi and a decision not to leave her side. Where you go, I will go. There was nothing logical about that choice. She was giving up every bit of security she knew to follow a woman who claimed the Lord had turned against her. And then Ruth went into the fields to pick up the leftovers the harvesters dropped, the most humble, invisible work imaginable. But it was in that very field that Boaz saw her. Not because she introduced herself, not because she promoted herself, but because she was in the place where someone needed to come to her. Boaz wasn't random. Boaz was the kinsman redeemer, the one with the legal authority to restore everything Ruth had lost. And he came in the form of a person, carrying an inheritance she didn't even know was hers. The person heading to your door might not look like a miracle when they arrive. They might look like a coincidence, an opportunity, or just a mundane encounter. But just like Ruth recognized what Boaz represented, you will recognize them, because you are being prepared for exactly this. Now think of another image. Imagine you have a radio in your house, but it's never been tuned to the right frequency. The signal exists. It's broadcasting 24/7 without interruption. But as long as you're on the wrong frequency, all you hear is static. Not because the signal failed, but because the tuning was off. There are people who spend years thinking the problem is a lack of opportunity, but the opportunity was being broadcast the whole time. They were just on the frequency of blockage, fear, and self-sabotage, so they only caught the noise. Today's message isn't about waiting passively for someone. It's about adjusting your frequency so that when that person arrives, you're in the right state of mind to recognize what they're carrying, and you don't let them walk away thinking it was just a casual visit. The person and the blessing they bring are already transmitting. The question is, are you tuned in to receive? Do you relate more to Ruth waiting in the field or the radio that needs tuning? Type "field" or "signal" in the comments right now. Let me stop for one full minute. Everything you've lived through up to this point wasn't a wrong turn. These were objective, precise milestones. You waited when you had every reason to quit. You kept praying when the answers felt like silence. You kept a space for faith open, even when everything around you told you to lock it up. You are here, listening to this message, at this exact second. And that is not a coincidence. And here is who you are in the middle of all of this. I didn't forget you during those long nights when you reached for me with no one watching. I saw it. Every tear you didn't let fall because you decided to be strong became a foundation. You aren't where you are despite what you've lived. You are where you are because of it. And it is exactly because of that process that I can trust you with what is coming. What you're about to hear isn't a human title. It's what I call you when I speak to heaven about you. You aren't someone who waits passively. You are the one who has been positioned to guard a spiritual threshold, the entry point between what is arriving and what is going to be established. Guardians don't sit idle. They prepare, they watch, they discern. You are the guardian of the gate, and that identity authorizes you to recognize who can enter and what that entry activates in your life. The door isn't left to chance. It's under your authority. Everything that was delayed, blocked, or taken has a return address. That address is you. Not because you're perfect, but because the process you went through qualified you to carry the weight of restitution. You are the vessel of restitution. And that identity authorizes you to receive without guilt, without doubt, and without trying to shrink the size of what's coming. What belongs to you has your name on it. And it's heading to the right house. What arrives through this person isn't just for you. You are the connection point between what is received and what will be multiplied for your family, your kids, and people who haven't even been born yet. You are the link in the chain. And that identity means your preparation isn't selfish. It's the most selfless thing you can do right now. When you open the door, you aren't just opening it for yourself. You're opening it for everyone coming after you. Type in the comments which identity you recognize in yourself right now. Guardian, restitution, or link. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, do it now. The next word will find you once you're already positioned to receive. Now I need to show you something I found. I didn't develop this. I found it. And it completely changed how I understand why some people receive while others miss the visitor at the door. The Miracle Journal. 21 days to unlock withheld blessings. It didn't come out of a marketing meeting. It appeared while I was researching why deeply faithful people who prayed constantly, stayed stuck while others with less of a spiritual track record were receiving. The difference wasn't the amount of prayer. It was specific blockages, and general prayer doesn't remove specific blockages. You need a specific tool. The mechanism is the 3 cycles: breaking, clearing, and possessing. Cycle 1. Breaking. In the first 7 days, you identify and name exactly what is stalling the blessing. Not a general, I need more faith. We're talking about name, origin, and date. A blockage without a name can't be removed. You can't evict what you don't recognize. Cycle 2. Clearing. Over the next 7 days, you go through a process of clearing out what was named. This isn't a retreat or a radical fast. These are 15 to 20-minute daily practices that create actual spiritual room for what's coming. Unoccupied space is available space. Cycle 3. Possessing. In the final 7 days, you move from being a passive receiver to a possessor. You declare, you position, you prepare. When that person knocks on your door, you're ready. You open it. You don't hesitate, you don't doubt, and you don't let them walk away. The bonuses aren't just free gift, they are instruments. The prayer guide features 15 prayers for specific moments. This isn't a generic devotional. Each prayer has a precise context. For when the waiting hurts, for when fear arrives before the visitor does, for when the blessing shows up, but doubt tries to send it back. You use them when they're needed, not just on a schedule. The Manual of Psalms gives you 10 psalms with historical context, meditation, and a declaration of faith. Each psalm comes with the story of where it was written, by whom, in what state of desperation, and what was unlocked afterward. You'll pray the Psalms knowing they are weapons already tested on the battlefield. And the investment for all of this? Less than a latte and a bagel at a coffee shop. Less than an ice cream on a Saturday afternoon. Less than a happy meal for the kids. That's it. For 21 days, that could be the dividing line between staying in the waiting room and finally moving into your inheritance. If you're hesitating right now, I need to tell you that hesitation has a name. It's not caution. It's one of the very blockages the journal exists to remove. The same pattern that made you miss other visits before this one is trying to make you miss this one. There is a 7-day guarantee. If in 7 days you don't feel a change, none, zero, your money is returned in full, no questions asked, and you keep the bonuses anyway. The risk is 100% on me. Here are 3 people who have already gone through the 21 days. A 43-year-old woman who had lost her husband 2 years prior reached cycle 2 on a Saturday. The following Tuesday, a cousin she had drifted away from called her with a lead that turned into a job opportunity she wasn't even looking for. A 37-year-old man who had been trying to claw his way out of a financial hole for 4 years finished cycle 1 on a Wednesday. By Friday, an old coworker reached out with a partnership proposal he never would have thought to seek out on his own. A 29-year-old woman who had been praying for family restoration for 3 years finished cycle 3. The following week, her brother, who hadn't spoken to her in 2 years, sent a text asking to talk. None of these miracles were forced. They were all received. The cost of doing nothing. Today is just one more day with the blockage intact. Each week is another visitor passing by because you weren't ready to open the door. Each year, that gap gets deeper, and it gets inherited by your children, your lineage, and everyone who comes after you. The link is in the first pinned comment. Not tomorrow. Not after your shower. Not after you think about it. The visitor is on the way right now. Will you be ready? And before we close with what was promised, the 3-step protocol to prep your door, I want you to know that what comes next is the first step of what the journal does on the inside. It's free, it's yours, and you can do it right now. The protocol of the 3 thresholds. To prepare your door. First threshold, name the arrival. Out loud or on a piece of paper declare, I am prepared to receive what is on the way. I recognize that it comes through a person, and that person is carrying exactly what I need. This isn't a generic positive affirmation. It's a declaration of spiritual posture. You are notifying heaven that the door is unlocked. Second threshold. Clear the space of the last disappointment. Think about the last time you expected something from someone and it didn't show up. Say it out loud. I release the weight of this weight. I no longer carry what didn't arrive. My door is not guarded by bitterness. It is guarded by faith. Bitterness doesn't let blessings in. It doesn't ask for permission. It blocks them by its sheer weight. Third threshold. Prepare the physical space of expectation. Pick a spot in your house. A chair, a corner of the table, a space in your room, and get it physically ready, as if someone important is about to arrive. This isn't a superstition. It's a prophetic act. You are creating in the visible world what has already been decreed in the invisible world. The sign that the protocol worked isn't euphoria. It's not feeling something dramatic or intense. It's quietness, a sense that something has been adjusted. Something clicked into place. If quietness comes, the protocol worked. In the next 72 hours, 3 things will be launched at you. Not as a possibility, but as a certainty. The first will arrive disguised as common sense. An internal voice, or someone close to you, will say, "That's a nice thought, but it's a fantasy. People don't just show up like that. Miracles don't work that way." The specific weapon is your memory of the times you waited and nothing happened. Your shield is this phrase: what was withheld wasn't canceled. It was accumulating. The second will arrive as a high-priority crisis or distraction, Something that feels like it needs 100% of your attention immediately. A bill, an argument, some bad news. Its job is to pull your focus away from preparation and into a smoke and mirrors fight. The specific weapon is your tendency to put out fires before you take care of your home. Your shield. I discern what is urgent from what is real. The third is the most subtle. Before the right person arrives, the wrong person will show up. With a similar offer, a similar promise, but with different fruit. Their mission is to make you spend what you were saving for the real blessing on someone who wasn't sent. The specific weapon is your impatience after waiting so long. Your shield. I wait for what comes with peace, not what comes with a rush. And the most dangerous internal enemy, the feeling that you don't deserve it, that other people are more worthy of this visit, that your history has too many stains. That is the oldest blockage of all, and it will try to slide through the door before the right visitor does. Close that door with one word. I was chosen before I earned it. My worth comes from the choice, not my performance. Type protected in the comments. The decree is sealed. Do this for me now. Put your hand on your heart. Take one deep breath. You don't have to close your eyes if you don't want to, but put your hand on your heart. Feel the weight of everything you've carried until now. Every expectation that wasn't met. Every weight that wore you out. Every time you almost locked the door from the inside so you'd never have to wait again. Now breathe again and let it go. I'm not asking you to forget. I'm asking you to deposit it. There's a difference. Forgetting is pretending it didn't happen. Depositing is putting it in the hands of the one who can actually do something with it. I saw that Sunday night when the silence felt heavier than any word could ever be. I was there, not as a spectator, but as the one who was watching over you. I saw the math you did on your prayers and how you added them up to 0. I know the exact number of every single one. I know the name of that empty space you feel, and I know the name of the one designated to fill it. I'm not sending you a generic promise. I'm sending you a person. They are in transit. Prep the door. I already know you're going to open it. From this moment on, you leave this message with coverage, not as an emotion, as a spiritual fact. Your mind is covered. Any doubt that tries to move in over the next few days has already been anticipated and named before it arrived. Your relationships are covered. The people who need to move toward you are being moved. The timing is covered. What felt late isn't delayed. It was being guarded for this exact moment, and the arrival is covered. The person is in motion, and your door is ready. What was declared here does not return empty. It will accomplish what it was sent to do. It is declared, it is sealed, it is done. Amen. Type done in the comments and let heaven record that you received this word. Now think of one person, not a group, one specific person who is waiting for a visit and has no idea it's on the way. Send this video to them right now. Don't wait until you remember later. Do it now while your heart is still warm. And if they want to go deeper than what they received here, the link is in the first comment, waiting for them just like it waited for you. The next video is already being prepared. It's about what to do when the visitor arrives and you don't recognize them immediately. Subscribe so you don't miss it. It is done. You are not the same person you were when this message started.